One of the reasons why the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People stands out from most other books on success and effectiveness is because most people try to create an outcome simply by changing attitudes and behaviors. But what this book attempts to do is to create the foundation of success by focusing on changing perceptions and paradigms, the way we look at the world, and create an environment where success comes naturally. So today, let's go over the 7 habits of highly effective people and how to use them. There is an amazing story from a man called Viktor Frankl, who actually wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. To make a long story short, Frankl was kept in concentration camps in Nazi Germany, where conditions were terrible and he experienced things that no human should ever experience. Yet, he understood that even when he couldn't control his environment, he could decide how all of this was going to affect him. He called this the last of human freedoms. This is an extreme example of a fundamental principle of human nature. Between stimulus and response, we have the freedom to choose. This is what Covey calls being proactive. See, many of us forget that we have this freedom and let circumstances dictate our behavior. Think about the last time you were upset. Now think about what made you upset. Most would simply blame the stimulus instead of the choice of letting that get us upset. This is what is called being reactive. Those who are reactive are affected by their environment or circumstances, while those who are proactive give more power to their decisions and values over their environment. Now, most of us have been reactive at some point or another. Becoming proactive and in control is a habit, and it takes awareness of a few things to develop. To become more proactive and therefore more effective, it is important to understand where we're spending our time and energy. So let's think about some of the thoughts that we have that are concerning to us right now, that are taking our time and energy. Whether it's the economy, whether it's our jobs, our finances, our kids, a pandemic. This is what is called the circle of concern. All the things that we have in our mind that are concerning to us. In this list, we can see that there are a few things that are not within our control, but there are others that we can actually influence. So let's identify which ones we can actually control. This is what is called the circle of influence. The goal is to expand our circle of influence to the size of the circle of concern as much as we possibly can, and eliminate those things from our circle of concern that we simply cannot control. If we don't have any influence over it, there's no reason to spend time and energy on it. By focusing on what we can control and eliminating what we cannot, we will make it much harder to become reactive, making it easier to be in control. So habit number 1, be proactive. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. Think of life as a GPS. In order for it to take you to your destination, you must first know where you want to go. Covey says that many people don't stop to think where they want to go. They work hard, they were busy with everything in their life, but at the end, they realized they didn't go where they wanted. Beginning with the end in mind means to have a clear destination from the start to give you a better understanding of where you are, so the steps you take are always in the right direction. As Covey puts it, imagine yourself at your own funeral, with friends and family and your professional colleagues. What would you want them to say about you and your life? What would you want to say about your own life? By doing this fairly odd exercise, we get perspective on where we are right now and what steps we need to take in order to move towards our goal. This is a very important habit because not having a clear destination, even if we have all the other habits, we would still not accomplish what we want. We would be efficient at climbing the ladder of life just to realize that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall the whole time. Even if you or the plan is imperfect, an old car with a clear destination will always beat a high-performance car if the driver doesn't know where to go. A good idea is to put this destination into a sentence, sort of like a mission statement to live by. Recently, I heard Will Smith say that he wakes up every morning with a simple statement: improve lives. That's it. So, what is your destination? Let me know in the comments. Which leads us to the next habit. Habit number 3, put first things first. See, habit number 1 was all about understanding that you have the power to control your destiny and it is not up to the environment. Habit number 2 is about creating and understanding our vision. And habit number 3 is to execute and bring that vision to life. By knowing what your end goal is, it becomes easier to dedicate our time to the things that actually get us there. So if I asked you right now, what are the most important things to you? Most people would say having a happy family, working on my passion, achieving my financial goals. Most people wouldn't say go out to the bar on the weekends and spending 4 hours a day on Facebook. Yet, many do exactly that. As we ask these questions, we begin creating a relationship between what we want and what we do. Once we begin putting what actually matters to us first, we begin entering our time management and self-management stage. Here's where we begin making lists, schedules, setting up goals, prioritizing our tasks. But according to Covey, the highest level of time management is where tasks and time come secondary to results. Most things that we think we need to do, oftentimes they're not necessary to actually achieve the results we want. See, most of the things in our personal and professional life fall into 4 main categories: urgent and important, urgent and non-important, non-urgent and important, and non-urgent and non-important. So in a business setting, for example, in the first quadrant, we would have urgent and important things like a big client wanting to cancel or a deadline to deliver a project. These are either crisis, important deadlines, or pressing problems. In quadrant 3, we normally have things like emails, phone calls, and meetings that seem important but aren't. These are some of the most dangerous forms of distractions because since they are urgent, they might disguise themselves as important. So it is vital to identify those things that are urgent but not important. In quadrant 4, we have those things that are not urgent and not important. This is typically just busy work that can either be eliminated or delegated. Often, this type of work is used as a way to procrastinate on the important stuff. In quadrant 2, we have the important, non-urgent stuff. This quadrant is one of the most important. This deals with things that create growth within your company or your life, but often isn't taken as serious because it's not urgent. This is, for example, creating good relationships with your employees or clients, developing systems, learning or building your network. In life, this can be taking time to create a deeper relationship with your significant other, meditating, exercising, reading. Taking care of this quadrant can reduce your time spent reacting and putting out fires in the first quadrant, since you spend time building a better and more productive system in quadrant 2, making you truly proactive. Notice how the first 3 habits focus on self-leadership. These 3 habits give you private victories and they focus on oneself. The next 3 habits will focus on becoming the most productive externally by becoming an effective leader. Imagine that you have a YouTube channel, and I check it out and I like your content, so I give you a shout out on my channel. And now you have thousands of people checking out your content. You notice and you say, who is this guy? So you go and check out my channel, and you say, I like this guy, I'm gonna give him a shout out. Now I got new people checking out my channel. This follows one of Covey's habits to always keep an eye for win-win situations. It follows the paradigm that there is always plenty for everyone. Someone's win doesn't mean someone else has to lose. By always seeking to create win-win situations, you are perceived as a true and reliable leader, and your team, your clients, your friends, your family will have more trust in you because you're always looking to make everyone win. So habit number 4. Always think win-win. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Who would you be more likely to listen to and take advice from? Someone who is just telling you what to do, or someone who takes the time to listen and understand you first and only then gives you their thoughts on it? The one who takes the time to actually understand you. This is one of the most powerful ways of creating influence and great relationships with others. So habit number 5, seek to understand, then to be understood. Imagine that these 2 people need to climb over this wall, but this wall is too high for them. On their own, neither of them would be able to climb it, but they have a great idea. One of them pushes the other up until he's able to get on top. Then once on top, the guy pulls the other one up, and now both are able to go over this wall. This is an example of synergy. Together, they were able to accomplish more than what they would have on their own. This is where the whole is worth more than the sum of its parts, where 2 + 2 = 5. We should always keep an eye for opportunities to create synergy and go further than we would on our own. So habit number 6, synergize. Imagine a person cutting down a tree with a saw. He has been there for a few hours and eventually his neighbor comes over and tells him, hey, why don't you sharpen the saw? It'll make it so much easier to cut the tree down. In which he says, no, that just takes more time. We might look at this as silly, but how many of us do exactly the same thing? We want to build a successful life but never take the time to learn new habits. We want to be healthy but never learn what we should eat. The main point of this habit is to enhance the biggest asset that you have, you. By taking the time to enhance and sharpen yourself, you will be able to cut down your tree much more effectively. So habit number 7, sharpen the saw.